Okay, so we're going to be talking about figuring out the drilling angles on this chair. And imagine this is a chair just with the back cut off for clarity. And I haven't put any taper in the legs so that we can see the angles as we compare them to a vertical. So this chair is the simplest form of post and rung assembly. Front legs are straight up and down. The angle between the front rungs and the legs are 90 degrees. The two front rungs are the same size, same length. From a side view, the legs, again, straight up and down. Angle between the rungs and the legs are 90 degrees. There is an angle in the top view, but not in the side view. 90 degrees to both legs. Rear view, again, legs are straight up and down, 90-degree angle. So these rungs are the same length. These side rungs are all the same length. Now, the place to get an angle is here. So the front rungs are a good deal longer than the rear rungs. So the challenge is to figure out what is this angle, this angle here, off vertical. The way we figure this out is if you look at the centers of the legs, if you connected the centers of the legs, they would form a trapezoid. And what we do is actually draw a trapezoid and then measure. Then from the trapezoid we can measure the angles using a method called rise and run, which I'll get into in a little bit. The other thing to note about this assembly, because the legs from the top all the way to the bench are the same, are no angle, they go straight down. The trapezoid that is created by connecting the centers of each leg is identical at any elevation above the chair, above the bench. So trapezoid here matches the trapezoid here, matches trapezoid here, matches trapezoid here. So for that reason, it's a really simple chair to construct, because you've really only got two angles. You really only have one angle. This angle and this angle are complement each other. They're the same angle. I've actually drawn a trapezoid. Roughly center to center, this trapezoid matches this construction. And then from this trapezoid, we can figure out the drilling angles and apply that to a drilling jig. With this method, we do all the drilling on drill press. This is the only trapezoid that exists in this chair. So I'm going to knock this apart, and we're going to go through step by step drilling angles for every part, every mortise in the chair. We're going to start with the simplest part, which would be the front panel assembly. So the front leg, two rungs, and the opposite front leg. This rung is 90 degrees to this leg, so it's there's no angle. There is an angle, it's 90, which is easy to deal with. So our drilling jig for this is really simple. We have this platform that has a couple of dados cut into it. We need a method of locking these in place when we're drilling them. Set this leg in here. At this stage, you're usually working with the pair of legs, so set this leg, lock them down. There are other things that we do. We're using a story stick to mark rung locations. I have a little gizmo to mark centers, things like that. The framing square from here on out represents the path of the drill bit, straight up and down. The bench represents the drill press table. I can't show you what the mortise looks like. I can always show you what the mortise looks like by putting a rung into it, and you see the result. Right? So the result we want is this, straight up and down, no angle. So this is simple. So you would drill all four rung mortises. Put that together, you have our front panel assembly. While we're at it, we might as well do the rear panel because it's really identical to the front panel. So these are the rear legs. The rear legs have no rake, no splay. So they'll fit into the drilling jig the same way. I'm not going to go through and lock it in place, but you get the idea. I'm trying to get those rungs vertical so that in path of the drill bit, drill press table, we get these rungs drilled in a way that will allow us to do a rear panel assembly like this. So the only difference between this rear panel assembly and the front panel assembly is that this is narrower. That's really the only difference between the two assemblies.